I think I found the worst Disney game in prehistory.
Dinosaur has to be one of the most overlooked Disney movies that there is. It's apparently so undeserving of acknowledgement that it's not even included as part of the Disney Animated Classics canon here in the UK. It actually bewilders me that it's been all but forgotten. I mean, just look at the animation. This is a technical marvel. Considering that it's 20 years old, it really stands the test of time. To me, the story of a migration of a herd of dinosaurs seems heavily influenced by the Rite of Spring sequence from Fantasia. And for a feature-length movie, I guess you could argue that this plot is paper thin. But in my opinion, it's far from terrible. In fact, there's no part of this movie that I don't find captivating. But we're not here to talk about the movie, oh no. As usual, we're here to discuss the video games, which are unsurprisingly utter train wrecks. Or should I say, Tyrannosaurus wrecks.
Betcha Dino saw that coming.
I'll have a look.
The PS1 game begins with a friendly pteranodon finding an egg being attacked by an oviraptor.
Oh my! That oviraptor is attacking the nest!
Yeah, in this game the pteranodon is your friend, even though she quite clearly tried to eat you in the film.
With friends like these, who needs enemies?
Once we take the egg to a safe moss patch, the egg hatches.
What? That sounds like a baby crying. I better go see if it needs help.
Zini's paternal instincts prompt him to investigate.
Hi, I'm Flea. This is my new friend Aladar. I think he's hungry.
After the two introduce themselves, it's up to Zini to locate some fruit for the baby iguanodon, but the fruit trees are surrounded by champasauruses. With a square button, Zini can jump to lure enemies towards him, and then if you press X, you can perform a jump kick. Which is extremely awkward as you need to get dangerously close.
Aladar must be really hungry.
With the fruit retrieved, we return to the baby and select the fruit in the inventory to feed it. It's actually quite amusing how quickly this thing grows.
That's good.
What happened to my baby?
Seriously, it only takes a few oranges for this thing to grow into a man dinosaur. It's hilarious.
I think he's still hungry.
Flea then scouts ahead and spots more fruit.
Aha! Fruit trees.
But it's surrounded by more enemies. She returns to Zini and baby Aladar, who has conveniently grown some more in the last 20 seconds.
Wow. Aladar, you've grown even larger. That's good, because we'll need your help.
Really? I was literally born 5 minutes ago. This is a bit much to ask, isn't it?
With Aladar all grown up suddenly, he can use his tail swipe to break some small trees and rocks for sticks and stones. Flea can use the sticks to drop on enemies to stun them, and it has the same effect if she strikes them with a stick in her beak. Meanwhile, Zini can throw stones. Annoyingly, once Zini has some stones on him, he cannot perform his close-range jump kick anymore. Because it's the same button to throw stones as it is to jump kick. Because of course it is. It's not like they had a whole lot of buttons to choose from. If you press triangle, you can group together as a team, and if you press a circle button, you can attack as a group. Which sounds great and all, but it's really rather disappointing. If you attack as a group but have no stones on you, Zini is pretty damn useless. He just sits there while the other two do all the work. Meanwhile, Flea will automatically perform her diving attack. And make a lot of noise while doing so. The problem is, much of the time she'll swoop off screen and get completely lost, and it'll take her an age to come back.
Easy now. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm just stuck in a tree somewhere, just give me a minute. Throughout the game, you'll also find these lightning bolt-shaped trees.
This could be useful.
Going near them makes lightning strike them, and they provide you with these little lightning bolts. Collecting them allows you to perform special moves. Aladar can do a powerful ground slam, while Zini can perform a super high jump kick. Meanwhile, Flea's special move temporarily stuns enemies in the vicinity. The maximum number of bolts you can hold is 10, but the trees are so stubborn, if you already have some bolts on you, they often refuse to give you any more. Come on, give me one. Oh, you're mean. The objective for the rest of this level is to eliminate all the enemies on the island. So yeah, we've gone from nurturing a baby to having it brutally murder all the other dinosaurs on the island in a space of about 20 minutes.
Oh, they grow so fast.
These monoliths act as checkpoints, while finding these life crystals will revive you if you get killed. There are plenty of these throughout the game, although I wish there were more in the first level. I'm not kidding. I ironically found this training level to be one of the toughest in the game, and it's mostly due to the flawed leveling up system this game has. As would be expected, the more enemies you fight, the tougher you get.
I'm stronger now.
The problem is that while the enemies increase in size, they don't actually get much tougher as the game continues, so it actually gets progressively easier.
The girls are gonna love me now.
What you'll have noticed by now is how numerical the interface is. Every time enemies are attacked, stars and numbers all flash up on the screen, and at first glance it looks quite confusing. It shows the amount of damage you've inflicted and how much of the enemy's health remains. The inventory also looks convoluted, although it's really only useful for feeding characters fruit.
Oh, that hits the spot.
Otherwise, this screen contains all kinds of pointless details, and without the accompanying game booklets, it's not easy to figure out what some of these symbols are representing. Like, what the hell is this?
In fact, I looked up what it all was, and I've already forgotten.
With all the enemies eliminated, we're then faced with the threat of a huge meteor shower.
Ooh, how exciting!
Sadly, the level that follows merely depicts the boring aftermath. Yeah, you'll find this game has a habit of skipping over the most exciting scenes in the movie. And let's face it, most of that was a migration through a barren desert. It doesn't exactly make for a memorable video game in the first place.
I'm so glad you found me.
In this level, Flea is injured, and Aladar and Zini need to find some fruit to feed her.
Quite tasty.
Yeah, we're on level 2, and this game is already getting repetitive. It's also kind of underwhelming that as soon as you get to grips with the 3 characters and their moves, you lose one of your party in the next level.
I mean, great, it was boring enough as it was. Now it's even more boring. Well done, game.
And Aladar is so bloody slow. You can run, but only for as long as the run meter remains, and you can only start running again when the meter fills past the green half. The problem is, it runs out so rapidly and takes a year and a day to refill again, hence why I'm jumping around here. Ridiculous as it looks, it's genuinely much quicker in the long run. Clearly I was some kind of prehistoric frog in a former life.
I'm Super Lemur!
With Flea revived, we then get a movie clip in which Aladar and the lemurs are attacked by some raptors. Although considering the fact that I, a newborn, took out an entire island of vicious predators about 10 minutes ago, I really don't know why everyone is so terrified. Regardless, as expected, the game skips over this exciting scene, and the next level sees us having to follow some footprints to find the elderly dinosaurs, Baleen, Ema, and Earl.
Be careful what tracks you follow. You can never be sure that what you find is friendly.
Oh, and throughout the game, old Lemur Yar gives you some absolutely useless hints. Either it was extremely obvious, or it was just a redundant, meaningless comment.
Sometimes it's better to go out alone.
His presence in the game is pretty pointless, although it's kind of amusing that he always seems to be sat where there are predators nearby, and he just doesn't seem to give a shit.
I am the immortal Yar!
It's me if you dare.
Oh, thank heaven.
Finding the old dinosaurs isn't so tough, but now you have more characters to protect from predators, and you know what that means?
Yep, an escort mission. Doesn't that sound like fun?
Indeed, the next level sees you having to lead the old dinosaurs to the herd, protecting them from the encroaching enemies.
Help me. I need help.
This level is extremely irritating. The old dinosaurs are so slow, even for you. And if you walk just a few too many steps ahead, they get so unnecessarily pissy with you and refuse to move.
Slow down.
This is gonna take a while.
Where did everyone go?
I'm not even walking quickly, come on! The following level, the lake, is what I like to call that one level. The level that I remember leaving all the kids stumped back in the day. And although it's not that hard, it's not explicitly clear what to do. We need to free the trapped water from the cracks in the canyon, and we can do that by getting Zini to jump up and down to lure Baleen onto them. The problem is, besides that very brief tutorial at the beginning of the game that told you Zini can lure enemies away, they never tell you that you can do this, and for a long time I was stuck not knowing how to progress. I also find it kind of weird that I always seem to get stuck on waterway-based levels, like Riverbed Run in A Bug's Life and To the Lake in Peetle Pan.
What is it with me and lakes and rivers?
What's also really off-putting is that throughout this level, Ema is dying. I mean, that's fine. The problem is that she won't shut up about it.
I'll be sun-bleached bones soon enough.
Can you die a little quieter, please?
That's it. I'm done for. I'm sure of it.
Yes, we know you're dying, okay? You don't have to keep reminding me.
Seriously, all these old dinosaurs seem to do is moan all the time. It's really not very encouraging. The next level also sees us having to employ the same moves, as we need to find some lost baby iguanodons and lure them back to the herd using Zini. In this level, they actually tell you what button you have to press to get them to follow, even though by this point we obviously know, since we performed this move repeatedly in a previous level. I mean, thanks, I guess. It's about time you told me the controls.
Where was this information when I needed it?
Anyway, the babies are about as slow as the old dinosaurs. They literally crawl at a snail's pace. Come on, almost there. Can Flea not just carry them back to the herd? It's not always clear which direction to take, and sometimes this can make it easy to get the babies trapped in an area. You fucking who? Oh, come on, man. Jesus Christ. There's also a surprising amount of enemies out here. It's a real wonder the baby survived. Yeah, he looks like he's having a hard time. Come on, little guy. Follow the trail of corpses. What do you mean you're stuck? Can you not just jump down the cliff? Go on, it won't hurt. Probably. Oh, come on. I just want to pick him up and throw him.
Yeah, I'm not a very good babysitter.
The following level sees us try to locate Nera, who is under attack from a vicious Spinosaur.
It's me, Nera. I need your help.
Most of this level is a simple maze, and it's a great opportunity to find some extra fruit.
Ooh, I'll take that.
Yeah, I really hope Nera doesn't mind my taking my time.
Help! I'm being eaten alive! I'll be right there, I'm just picking some oranges.
Eventually, when I felt like it, I found Nera.
I can't get by him. There isn't enough room.
Jesus, how much room do you want? You have like a whole canyon to yourself. Anyway, after defeating the Spinosaur, the following movie clip suggests the next level will see us battle Crone, further reinforced by the level's title, Confronting Crone.
If you ever interfere again, I'll kill you.
Ooh, I smell a boss level. Let's take a look.
Earl has to go for a walk.
What?
Yeah, this isn't a major disappointment at all. Way to kill the tension, game. First, we need to use Zini to escort Earl along this dangerous trail, protecting him from all the enemies. It's pretty dull, although it's somewhat amusing seeing Zini take out a fully grown Styrachosaurus by himself. Amazing. Also, why on earth do we need to take Earl for a walk anyway? Surely he can't possibly need any more exercise.
Is the long trek across the desert not enough?
Once this is done, Flea needs to scout ahead and seek out the herd.
Look at what you can find if you're observant.
Which is ultimately pointless because by the time I switch to Aladar, I'd completely forgotten the route. But anyway, once Aladar makes it to the herd, we finally confront Crone.
I've had enough of you and your interference.
And the music here couldn't be more inappropriately relaxed.
It's not really what I would have picked for a potential fight to the death.
Obviously, at this stage, you don't actually have to kill Crone, just slap him around for a bit. Which is altogether rather pointless.
This is pointless.
Thank you! Someone else is finally speaking some sense. Can we move on now?
And immediately afterwards, we get another boss level.
Jesus, game! This is too much excitement for one day!
This is an awkward boss fight against a Carnotaur. Our regular attacks don't work on him, so we need to lure him to some shaky ground, where if we perform Aladar's special move, the ceiling will collapse on him. It's not the hardest level, but it's annoying if you run out of special moves and have to backtrack to the tree at the start of the level.
Look! Free stuff!
Eventually we make it to the nesting grounds, which for some reason is teeming with predators, and it's our job to eliminate them all. Yeah, I can't wait to see Ema's face when she finds out I've wiped out her whole family.
The Carnotaur did it! I swear!
There's also lava in this level, which is really awkward to avoid with Aladar's terrible jump. Come on, you can do this! Well, fantastic. I just cooked myself. Aladar warns the herd about the blocked entry to the nesting grounds, but just then a Carnotaur approaches with a taste for dino flesh.
Now extra crispy.
If we scatter, he'll pick us up. Stand together.
Well, that editing was seamless.
Stand together!
This part takes the form of a chase level, and no, you still can't run much. It's the slowest chase level I've ever seen. However, you can keep one step ahead by occasionally tapping the run button. Yeah, missed me. The idea is to locate a narrow passage out of the Carnotaur's reach.
He's a big guy, but you're little. Use it to your advantage.
Hey, who are you calling little? I'm pretty big considering I was only born about an hour ago.
The final level sees you having to lure the Carnotaur to the cliff and push him over the edge. The easiest way to do this is to first stun him with Flea, and then use Aladar's special move on him.
I feel like flying.
Our reward is some credits with this frankly hideous screenshot. Interesting choice for a congratulations screen there. That's terrifying.
Thanks, I hate it.
Watch me go now, baby.
Overall, this game is pretty bad. It's slow and repetitive and frankly tedious, but there are some aspects of it that I find admirable. The leveling up system and interface look quite alien on first glance, but attacking other dinosaurs and watching their health percentages deplete is oddly satisfying. The only other thing of note in this game is a dinosaur encyclopedia, which is a nice addition. It's not the most exciting feature, but it's a feature. Otherwise, though, this game is a snooze fest, and the gameplay is so dated you might say it's prehistoric.
See what I did there?
No, no!
Oh, but if you thought that game was boring, just wait till you see the PS2 game. From a critical perspective, I'd say this game is an improvement over the PS1, but my god is it tedious.
Oh, lucky me.
While the games are not the same, there are major similarities. Fleer is still here for some reason, fruit is used to restore your health, and life crystals are used to revive you if you should die.
This could be useful.
Oh, and if you thought Aladar's growth was rushed in the PS1 game, get a load of this. Just wow.
That's what I call a growth spurt.
Most of the game is full of really boring tasks. I'd talk about every single one of them as usual, but you would be bored shitless.
I mean, that's assuming you're not already. Hang in there, yeah? I suffered for this video.
As in the other game, you can travel together in collective mode. You can do this by tapping L1 and R1 simultaneously. If one of the characters is too far away, it will automatically enter semi-collective mode. In principle, this is fine, but trying to enter collective mode while one character is just a fraction of an inch too far away is a pain. Come on, how is Fleer too far away here? The PS1 game was so much better in this respect. Tapping the triangle button would automatically make the characters approach one another. The combat in this game is also far worse, if you can believe it. Aladar has a headbutt and tail swing, but I had a hard time avoiding enemy attacks, making it quite a struggle to stay alive. Both Aladar and Zini have an optional strafe feature designed to help you dodge attacks, and it kind of helps. I'll admit I couldn't really get to grips with it, and it looks absolutely ridiculous. That's it, Aladar. You die with dignity. Similarly, Fleer's dive is also problematic, as the enemies are pretty much guaranteed to harm you if you strike while they're facing you. They're really hard to strike from behind, so it's hardly worth bothering. Zini also has a close combat attack, but as with the PS1 game, throwing stones takes precedence. And this is really quite amusing to me because it makes Zini the best character to use in combat, as there's less danger of him getting mauled to death. Indeed, whenever there's an enemy ahead, I switch to Zini.
Why me?
I feel ya, Zini. I feel ya.
This game also has an automatic jump, which is as diabolical as you might expect. Zini can cross large gaps, while Aladar can only jump over narrower pits. The trouble is, often it's not clear what pits you can jump across. There were times I ran to a pit expecting to have no trouble clearing it, and they just kinda limply flopped to their deaths.
I can't do it.
Speaking of deaths, every time you die, you get sent back to one of these obelisks, like in the PS1 game. The problem is, if your teammates aren't dead yet, they stay in a place you were when you died. So yeah, they're still out there getting massacred. It's one of many massive flaws in the game, and quite irritating. So anyway, after the tedious training level, we have the post-meteor shower level, in which we need to find our friends amongst the wreckage.
Help me! I'm stuck!
Aladar can headbutt trees to create paths, and rocks to produce stones for Zini to throw. Once we're all together again, we need to follow the footprints to find the herd. I love that the footprints just come to a dead end here. Like, what happened to them? Did they all just take off?
Or maybe it's the infamous invisible dinosaur, the Jathinkisaurus. I'm so sorry, I couldn't resist.
We cannot progress any further, as a hungry Dryptosaurus stands in our way. As in the other game, Zini can lure enemies towards him. In this case, we need to lure the Dryptosaurus onto an unstable bridge to clear a path. Zini can also use stones to collapse rock towers to make bridges for Aladar. Once we're through to the next level, it's Fleer's turn to take the helm, as she needs to light a trail using a burning branch before the footprints disappear in the sandstorm. And this was surprisingly difficult. I mean, to begin with, it's not clear where you're supposed to get the branch from in the first place. I don't know where I'm going. Oh, I failed, you say?
Well, then tell me what to do!
We then have to use Zini to follow the tracks and locate Baleen, Ema, and Earl in the sandstorm. At the very least, they move a lot quicker than they do in the PS1 game, which is a relief. With the oldies finally gathered together, Baleen spots the herd. Oh, well thanks I guess. Saves me the effort of walking. We can then progress with the inevitable escort mission, but before we can get the oldies to move, they need feeding apparently.
When do we eat?
Yeah, they don't stop complaining, do they? You'd think they'd be grateful I just saved their lives.
This mission is a lot more lively than the escort mission in the PS1 game, but it's not without its problems. At one point I somehow managed to get Aladar stuck and he refused to move. I kept switching back to him, but he just wouldn't budge.
Yes?
Yes, you! Can you stop throwing a tantrum and move, please? Eventually I realized I had no choice but to restart the level. I got so far into the level again before I realized somewhere along the way I'd lost Ema. What the? Where is she? Ema? Ema! Are you there?
Oh, come on! Literally the objective is to walk somewhere! How is that a hard thing to do?
Fortunately, this turned out to be a glitch and she magically reappeared.
I thought you were dead. Nope.
We then progress to the lake, in which we need to get the water out of the ground again. Naturally, I turn to Baleen, but what a surprise, she's hungry again.
When do we eat?
For God's sake, did nobody think to bring a packed lunch?
Alright, Baleen, here's your food. So you're still not gonna move? Well, what now, game? Tell me.
I'm so thirsty.
Oh, don't you start.
Okay, so as it turns out, Flea needs to find and use some asteroids and drop them on the cracks in the ground.
I don't recall that in the movie.
And then we can get Baleen to move in order to finish the level. Even though we've clearly already found water by this point, but whatever. Speaking of asteroids, there are two types of asteroid that can be collected and used for attacks.
Ooh, I'll take that.
The first is the knockout asteroid, which temporarily paralyzes enemies. And there's the powerful burning asteroid, which takes out a large chunk of health when dispatched. Collecting something called a power stone also grants you the use of a special move. Aladar performs a ground smash while Zini leaps in the air and lobs a number of stones in succession. Flea, meanwhile, emits a sonic screech which sees many of the smaller dinosaurs keel over and die. No, really. I'm not even kidding, Aladar's attack isn't even that powerful.
It's kind of ironic that in a game called Dinosaur, the worst character to play as is the dinosaur.
We then need to locate the herd and tell them that we've found water. From this point onwards, Flea is able to detect unstable bridges and take them out with her glide attack to make it safe for the others to cross. And yes, some of the more observant of you might notice that this level wasn't in the movie.
Yeah, these so-called movie games are surprisingly good at doing that.
Don't be afraid.
Next, we need to locate some baby iguanodons who have gone missing in this enormous pitch-black cave. Somehow. Where are the parents?
God damn it, we need a leash for these things.
Here, Zini needs to light the beacons using phosphorescent stones lying around. This illuminates the cave for Flea so she can fly to find the babies and return them to Nera.
We'll take care of you.
But once we've recovered the babies, Nera then manages to get lost herself.
Oh, come on! Why is nobody capable of looking after themselves?
Oddly, the biggest danger here isn't the enemies, but the weak ground. Initially, Flea's ability to identify pitfalls is useful, but eventually we need to rely solely on our ears. The cymbal sound indicates that the ground ahead of us is not safe. And yeah, for some reason, Flea cannot detect the weak ground in this area. They don't really explain why, we're just expected to accept it. It would surely have made more sense to make Flea absent for this mission. It really doesn't make much sense.
Nera, finally.
We then need to escape the two carnotaurs in the cave and find a way to trap them. Oh, and I just love the bluntness of this message when you get caught. Game over. Aladar is dead. Yeah, no shit. Once you've made it to the end of the path and collapsed the pillars to store them, we need to find a way to make the ceiling cave in to trap the carnotaurs.
Break this one down.
First, you need to walk around the cave with Flea to check which columns are safe to collapse.
Don't mess with that column.
After Zini lures the carnotaurs further into the room, you can topple the last column to trap them both. This mission is actually a lot simpler than it seems. My issue is that there's such a lack of explanation, and if you put one foot wrong and fail the mission, you have no choice but to start all over again. Frustrating just doesn't cover it. Once this is over, Aladar and Zini need to break the walls of the cave. Finally, we need to get Baleen's attention to get her to destroy the wall completely.
You okay to do that, hun? Not hungry again?
Once we've found the nesting grounds, we need to make our way back to the herd to warn them of the blocked entrance. Before we make our way to Crone, we need to push some rocks over a cliff. Because, well, I don't really know why, but I'm guessing it's to slow the herd or something. They never actually explain. Anyway, we then need to use Flea to find a burning branch to clear a path. And frankly, this makes no sense. In order to reach the branch, you need to follow the path of the wind to climb the cliffs.
Yeah, you can fly, remember?
Flea burns the logs blocking the path, and we progress to a pretty pitiful boss fight with Crone. Yes, even more pitiful than in the PS1 game. And thank goodness for all those fruits and life crystals, because I swear this is impossible to beat without them. And it actually feels as though Crone is trying to escape you much of the time. Unless I pursue him, he's not actually doing me any harm.
Who's the enemy here exactly?
The penultimate level sees you having to round up a large group of dinosaurs to intimidate the Carnotaur, who looks as though he's not the least bit bothered about us anyway. He's just happily feasting away on this rotting carcass.
Anyone else want to sacrifice themselves to buy us some time?
One of the dinosaurs we need to help us is Ema, who is cornered by a vicious Spinosaur. You do better to divert its attention rather than confront it. Interesting. Yeah, I actually don't know what this thing is talking about. I wound up killing him with the monkey of all things, and I encountered absolutely no difficulty in doing so.
Spinosaur? More like spineless saw? Yeah!
Not only do we need to find all the fully grown dinosaurs to scare the Carnotaur away, but we also need to find some more baby iguanodons.
Easy now.
Yes, because I'm sure they'll make all the difference. That's like trying to scare a lion away with a puppy.
With the herd out of the way, we now need to defeat the Carnotaur, which is expectedly difficult, and it took me a while to work out exactly what to do. First, you need to use Flea to find an asteroid to destroy a wall leading to the Carnotaur. Wait, hold on. Why?
That wall is surely protecting us, so why do we have to... Oh, do you know what? Just go with it. I don't even care anymore.
Zini then needs to lure the Carnotaur onto the bridge, at which moment Aladar needs to push a rock over the ledge above.
Obviously, I'm just too quick for him.
Come on, almost there. Oh. Well, that's just great. Okay, so if you do this properly, the Carnotaur dies and you're rewarded with one final movie clip.
We can only hope that, in some small way, our time here will be remembered.
Well, I don't think I'll be forgetting this game in a hurry.
I'm not kidding, I've never been more excited to see credits roll. Yay, party, woo! I love how janky everything looks. The Brachiosaurus plods along like something from Monty Python. Anyway, as in the other game, there's an encyclopedia. Unlike the other game though, you need to actually find most of these dinosaurs in the game, and sometimes eliminate them for them to appear in the encyclopedia, which is a nice touch, although it's really not worth doing. The graphics are obviously a step up from the PS1 game, but most of these entries are copied and pasted from it. And let's face it, even if you're a dinosaur fanatic, it's not the most exciting reward. Mind you, it's marginally less boring than the actual game.
Ha! Burn.
Oh yeah!
On the one hand, this game poses more of a challenge than the PS1 game, but I honestly think that the main reason for this is the lack of explanation, which I'm not certain was always intentional. There are just too many missions that leave you confused without any clear direction. Some puzzles are somewhat clever, but this game's qualities are majorly overshadowed by its flaws. Weighing the pros and cons of both games, this one is technically better, in that the level design is much more interesting, hence my higher rating. But I'll be honest, I'm tempted to say that I personally thought the PS1 game, while simpler, was actually far more bearable and mercifully shorter. Ironically, an actual migration across the barren deserts would probably have been more fun. Ultimately, this prehistoric puzzle game is little more than a colossal bore.
A dino snore, if you will. And there you have it. 2 terrible games condensed into one terrible video. No, wait, no, that's not quite what I meant.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching again. Initially this was just going to be a short video on the PS1 game, but I got a little carried away. So you can consider this to be a kind of bonus video if you like. Hope you enjoyed. Anyway, I'm intending to be back next month for my Christmas review, and in a new year I'll be accepting some more requests. So if you have any suggestions for any PlayStation animation games that I haven't already covered, feel free to leave them in the comments below. And if I cover it, I'll give you a credit. Big thanks as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.
Follow me!